once in a while, not often, but once in a while, when there's an excessive romanticism attached to baseball. But it's unmistakably there, for most people anyway. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. I'll be flying to Bradenton, Florida later today in advance of pitchers and catchers reporting to Pirate City first thing tomorrow morning. When I get there, the first thing I'll do, because it's the first thing I've been doing for more than 20 years upon arrival, is to snap a whole lot of pictures, a couple of quick video clips to send back to the users of our app, website, DKPittsburghSports.com. And invariably, the reaction is, romanticism. There are even some of our readers who will break out into actual poetry. They'll start typing up stuff that they've learned over the years related to the beginning of baseball. Whoever it is that's running the Pirates social media account these days put out 4 pictures on various platforms. There was a groundskeeper watering the dirt around home plate so that it settles properly. There was a shot of a base from up close where you could see the palm trees in the background beyond the third field. A simple bucket of scuffed up baseballs that had clearly been utilized in more than one batting practice session. Another of the team's headquarters down there. And underneath that posting, regardless of where it was posted, the reactions, the replies were, wow, just wow. Not cynical, not snarky, outright mean, outright vicious. And you want to know something? Wholly justified. That's what they deserve, not the social media team, the actual team. That's what they deserve. That's what they've brought on themselves. That's what they've done by taking this gift from the baseball gods, Paul Skeens, and adding nothing and saying we don't care, saying we're not even seeing daylight between winning and losing. To us, it's all the same. The current payroll mark, as it projects toward opening day, is around $82 million, which is about $1 million less than last year's opening day figure. Now, as I say all the time, that number doesn't matter until the end of the season. Well, last year, in 2024, that figure, the end of the year figure, ended up lower than the opening day figure. And as I'm also often saying, that's another reason why you don't tabulate payroll until it's spent. Now, that said, these numbers are what they are. You can't argue with everything being in the 82, 83 range. I'd been told they'll make it to 100 by the end of the year. That's becoming increasingly difficult to see, to say the least. I've been told that they're ready to support Skeens and make a big move toward winning. That's impossible to see. That's invisible. And I'm told that they're actually very competitive people, that it just doesn't always show. It doesn't make it to the surface as it does with some. That's actually just not true. That's a lie. That's the problem here. That's the problem. They can walk out onto the field, or those 4 fields, I should say, behind Pirate City. They can see those scenes that are depicted in those photos. They can experience that for themselves the way I will tomorrow. And I'll have some of my own romanticism or sentimentality. It's going to be about how much I love the game. It's going to be about memories of other players or other people that have been there over the years. And it's going to be, to some extent, seeing Skeens out there, seeing other players that I admire and I respect. But I don't count. Respectfully, you don't count all that much in this equation either. They're the ones that need to feel something. They're the ones that need to show something. They're the ones that need to do something, and they don't. And I'm convinced it's because they can't. Say what you want about the previous administration, and I've obviously said plenty over the years, including whenever they were rightfully fired, all of them. But I remember seeing Neil Huntington walk out onto that same complex and just stand there with his arms folded and smiling. You gotta do that, man. You gotta have some soul about this. You gotta have a heart. And none of these people have that. Not one of them. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragechek.org. That's gunstoragechek.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Alex, who says, DK, why do we not hear about Andy Rodriguez? I thought he's also supposed to be the answer at catcher. Did we forget that he exists after the elbow surgery? Alex, I didn't forget that he exists. Clearly you didn't forget. I'm going to guess that anyone who did so because Andy, when he arrived in the majors a couple of years back, he came with fanfare principally because he could hit, and that team couldn't. So Andy was seen as, and not unfairly, part of the offensive solution. He was going to be somebody who could come up and get you a bat that made things happen, like right away. And he did right away. And then he didn't, and he fell off. And by season's end, he looked like just all the rest of them at the plate. Next thing you know, it's winter ball. He gets hurt. He's shut down for a whole year. So I'm going to guess that if in that span, that brief span that he was in Pittsburgh, he had hit the way he had hit all through the minors, every level, very consistently, everyone would have been pining for him throughout his injury, as opposed to just saying, that guy. The scenario that's in place for Endy, I believe, is that he'd back up Joey Bart. He'd form some sort of partnership with Bart. Remember that there's still a 1-1 in this fold at that position, meaning Henry Davis, the former number 1 overall pick, and Jason DeLay, who's everything about his DNA just looks like he's a backup. I don't even say that in a bad way. He's a big league backup. That's to his credit. Now, Bart's going to be the starter. That's been indicated by everybody, by Ben Cherington, by Derek Shelton. He's going to be the starter. And you wouldn't and really shouldn't expect that to be swayed by anything that occurs at spring training, as I've been over with a million times. Don't make decisions based on anything that happens in Bradenton, Florida, specifically Bradenton, of all places. So, at least from my viewpoint, I think you could see Henry go back to Indianapolis and have to show himself yet again on a consistency basis, offensively, defensively. Let him play a ton. Let him really start feeling it. Let him check off some of the boxes that the people over his head feel need to be checked off. That leaves, of course, Bart as your starter and somebody as your backup. So it's either Endy or it's DeLay. Now, the unfortunate part here is Endy is probably more agile, more athletic than any of these other guys, and he could play an outfield position, a corner outfield position. I believe that. I believe he could play pretty much anywhere. He's told me he can play anywhere, but that doesn't mean it's true. The problem there, of course, is that his bat has yet to show itself. So I go back to that same period. If his bat had just erupted or something, if he had had a beginning to his big league career that looked like, say, I don't know, the way Brian Hayes came up in the COVID year, you could seriously entertain him competing for a job that, they didn't bother filling. As it is, it's probably best to just leave him alone, let him catch, let him be in his comfort zone defensively, and see if he can hit. That's all. See if he can hit. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. The next one of these will come from Bradenton, Florida, beginning tomorrow and all week long.